All right, let's get right into it. The brand new OWASP Top 10 for 2025 is out, and you need to think of this as an urgent intelligence briefing. This is not just some minor update, it's a map of a completely new digital war zone, and we're going to walk you through it.
So why the urgency? Well, it all comes down to this one number, $4.88 million. That's the potential average cost of a single missing security check. We're not talking about hypotheticals here. These are the real-world stakes, catastrophic losses from what might seem like one tiny oversight.
The reason we even have this new list is simple. The battlefield has changed. It's gotten absolutely brutal out there. This isn't some academic exercise. It's a direct response to a more dangerous, way more aggressive digital world. And get this, the entire list is built on hard data from over 12 million real-world security incidents.
So what's actually different? Well, at a glance, the whole structure has shifted. The classic broken access control has evolved into something much broader, identity failures. And we're seeing brand new categories pop up that reflect today's attack surface. So this isn't just a reordering of the same old problems, it's a total reevaluation of what our biggest risks really are.
Okay, let's start with the first huge theme here, a full-blown crisis in how we manage identity online. Seriously, attackers are no longer just trying to break down the door. No, they are stealing the keys, creating perfect copies of you, and just walking right in the front door.
This whole crisis is really represented by two major categories in the new list. AO1 is identity failures. That's all about what a user is allowed to do once they're inside. And then you have AO7, identification and authentication failures, which is about proving a user is who they claim to be in the first place. Just think of them as two sides of the exact same, very vulnerable identity coin.
And if you're wondering why this is a crisis right now, well, this quote just says it all. AI has put these attacks on steroids. We're now up against threats that can sail right past traditional human checks because they look and feel completely real. This stuff used to be science fiction, right? Not anymore.
And this isn't just a theory. Here's exactly what this looks like in the real world. A simple, and I mean simple, design flaw in an API allowed attackers to just skip two-factor authentication. The result? $2.1 million gone in just 3 hours. That is the devastating speed and scale we're dealing with now. So how in the world do we fight back? Okay, first, enforce phishing-resistant multi-factor authentication everywhere. I'm talking about stuff that goes beyond those simple codes, like WebAuthn, which uses cryptographic keys right in your device. It's way harder to fool. Second, you've got to implement strict rate limiting on logins to shut down those brute force attacks. And finally, never, ever trust permissions sent from the client. Always verify them on the server.
Okay, moving to our second major battleground. Let's look at threats that are literally built into our applications. We're not just talking about bugs anymore. These are fundamental flaws woven directly into the fabric of your app's design and code, right from day one.
Under this theme, we have a mix of an old enemy with new tricks, a really broad category, and a nasty one making a comeback. Injection is a classic, but AI is giving it new life. Insecure design covers all those big architectural mistakes, and then returning to the top 10, we have server-side request forgery, or SSRF, a particularly dangerous flaw because it lets attackers abuse the trust your own servers have with each other.
Now, SSRF is a little bit of a mind-bender, but it's so important to understand. An attacker doesn't hit you directly. Instead, they trick your own server into making malicious requests for them. It's an inside job. This lets them use your server's trusted position inside your network to scan, pivot, and attack systems that should be totally untouchable from the outside.
And this right here is a perfect example of what an SSRF attack looks like in the wild. An attacker creates a special URL that points to an internal cloud metadata service. Your server, thinking it's a legitimate request, just faithfully goes and fetches it, and in doing so, hands over sensitive cloud credentials directly to the attacker. It's just a devastatingly effective pivot.
The defense here has to start before you write a single line of code. It is absolutely crucial to do threat modeling from day one to even anticipate these kinds of design flaws. And for SSRF specifically, the best solution is a strict allow list. Don't play whack-a-mole trying to block bad guys. Instead, create a velvet rope list of only the specific, known good places your server is allowed to talk to.
All right, our third and final theme is all about the risks that come from outside your own code. We're talking about the very foundations your application is built on, your cloud infrastructure, all those open source libraries you use, and even your build pipelines.
And this category is massive. I mean, it covers everything from an accidentally public S3 bucket to using a vulnerable third-party library, all the way to a brand new threat, attackers messing with the integrity of your software as it's being built and deployed.
Now get this, the data here is just eye-opening. A full 1/3 of all breaches can be traced back to a simple security misconfiguration. We're talking default passwords, open admin ports, the basics. What's so wild is that these are almost all preventable. They are the low-hanging fruit we're just handing to attackers. And this really puts the dependency problem into perspective. 1,200. That's the number of vulnerabilities found in a single, pretty typical NPM audit for a modern web project. Just think about that. Each one of those is a potential backdoor, buried deep in code that you didn't even write.
Now, we get to the newest and maybe the most frightening category of all. We are now seeing attacks that compromise the build process itself. By injecting malicious code into your CI/CD pipeline, attackers can make sure their malware gets signed and shipped as part of your legitimate product. It is the SolarWinds nightmare, but now it's a formal, recognized category of risk.
Okay, so here's the playbook to lock this down. Use infrastructure as code, or IAC, to automate and audit your cloud setups. Generate a software bill of materials in SBOM, which is basically an ingredient list for your code. And finally, use frameworks like SLSA to digitally sign and verify the integrity of your builds from start to finish.
Okay, we have toured the entire threat map. We've seen the new enemies. Now let's boil all of this down into a final strategic action plan that you can use to start defending your applications today. But first, I really want you to let this sink in. A staggering 73% of breaches go completely undetected for months. Months! This is precisely why AO9, security logging and monitoring, is so incredibly critical. You absolutely cannot stop an attack that you can't even see.
So here it is, your survival guide summary. Number 1, threat model from the very beginning. 2, automate everything you possibly can, especially scanning your dependencies. 3, centralize your security logging so you can actually spot weird behavior. Remember that last slide. You can't stop an attack you can't see. And 4, enforce strong, phishing-resistant MFA everywhere, no exceptions.
And that is your deep dive into the OWASP Top 10 for 2025. Yeah, it's a complex landscape, but it is not impossible to navigate. So I'll leave you with this question to really think about. Looking at your own projects, your own systems, which one of these 10 risks truly scares you the most? Because that's probably where you should start.